Hello, it's Family Driver. Welcome to another video. Today it's time for another modification. It's time to install something which I was missing in this car from pretty much day one when I bought it. And it's this little box. This box basically will add an Apple CarPlay to my existing radio. So this unit will let me to connect my phone either by cable or wirelessly to the unit, which basically will display Apple CarPlay on the screen. BMW offered a couple of options in all of the F20, F30 and I think F40 series. They all used pretty much the same screens, so you could get a simple system with a small screen, 6.5 inch, with a sat-nav and without sat-nav in some of the cars. And then you could get an upgrade to a ProNav, which would add a panoramic 8.8 inch screen with the sat-nav. So there are many Android units on the market with the touch screens. They ranging between about 380–400 pounds from AliExpress, from pretty much unknown source, to about 600–650 pounds from the UK sellers with warranty and some of them with installation. I don't really value that option that much, so I never thought that spending that much money it's worth it. I'm not a massive fan of gizmos. I mean, this car is all about driving pleasure. So in today's video, first I'm gonna go through the installation of the box and then I will review it and show you all the functionality. So I've got this unit from a guy called Kush on Facebook. He was really helpful. We had a good chat about it, what the unit can do, how to connect it, etc. These units go for around 190–200 pounds. You can also get reversing and even front camera to connect to it for not much. So I think it's a really good value for money. Obviously, I want to test it first, see how it works, and then I will judge it and give it my final score. So first things first, I have to go to the back of the car, open the boot, get to the battery and disconnect the negative terminal on it. Right, so everything is disconnected now, so let's proceed with the removal of the trims. So you have to have some pry tools in order to remove this without scratching it. Let's hope this tool will do. So you just basically try to pull it out from the side gently. Right, okay, I think it's loose at this end now. So I can now pull it with my hands actually, with a bit of help with the tool. Right, okay, so after the first initial clip it's not too difficult and you can actually use your hands to take it out. Just be careful because you've got two clips you have to undo before we can pull it any further. So here's the unit out and disconnected. I never did it before, so it went reasonably well, I would say. So as you can see, you've got one connector here and the other one in there, which are now both here. So let's move this away and let's proceed with the climate control and radio unit. We need to undo these two Torx. So I've undone two of the Torx screws here. Now I'm going to undo this one and this one, which will release the screen. Right, now all the four screws are removed. I can try to remove this unit. And will it come out straight away? Right, so I needed to prop it a bit. Right, so it came out. It wasn't as easy as I was expecting it. I had to use a bit of force from the bottom to actually release the clips. So these are the clips which were holding it in place. So now we have to disconnect another wire, which is on this side. I believe it will be fairly easy. Yes, it was. So as you can see, the panel is removed. Now we can proceed with removing of the screen. So as we removed the bolts before, now I can try to push it up. So the screen came out quite easily. However, the cable seems to be really short and it's quite difficult to lift the screen any further. So what I might do first is I might actually remove this unit to make sure I can lose that cable to remove the screen. So I think I can remove the head unit now. Yes, it comes out. And as you can see now, when I remove the head unit, I think I will have, yes, more cable here, so I can turn around the screen and I can try to remove fiber optic cable, and I think it will come out now. Yes. So it wasn't too bad. You basically have to use very little screwdriver to push this one in, and then use another screwdriver or pry tool to slowly push it down. So the screen is removed, so we can put that to the back of the car for a moment. So the next thing is to get this cable out from here. So you have to pull it from the bottom and gently feed it right down there between the vents, and it's out. Fine. So once we've got our fiber optic cable here, we have to grab another fiber optic cable supplied with the box. This cable will actually connect to the screen, and this one will go back to our new box. So let's do it now. Let's feed it over there, so it goes right up where the old cable was going. Please bear in mind you've got two different connectors here. So the 90-degree one will go back to the screen, so you have to fit this one up. And here we are. So it's back in place. So now we've got both of our fiber optic cables here. So once the new cable is here, we can put our screen back in and connect it to the new cable. So you just push it in at 90-degree, and you will hear a little click. Then you can put your screen back in place. You just have to do it at the right angle, push it in, and now we are ready to put two of our torque screws back in. Now we have screen in place and secured with the screws, we can proceed with the head unit. So what I have to do is I have to disconnect the original harness by pulling the lever, and then it will come out really easily. So this is the new harness which comes with your unit. This one will connect with your existing harness, and then this one will go to your head unit, and all the other cables will, well, this one will go to your new box, and this one is your audio cable, I believe. So here's the important step, and depending on what your car is equipped with, you will have to pick one of the two routes. The first one is a simple one, and it's the one I'm going to take. So basically, if your harness doesn't have fiber optical cables here, Then it's pretty simple process. You just connect your new harness to your old harness and then to your head unit. So if your car comes with a HK sound system or business sound system, you will have separate amplifier at the back of the car. That means you will have two fiber optic cables here going to the back of the car. What you have to then do is disconnect them from the old harness and connect them with the new one. This step is covered in the manual which you will get with the box. Luckily, I can skip this point because my car came with the basic audio, so I don't have an external amplifier. So let's move on. I will connect the new harness now. Remember to make sure that you leave your harness in open position so you can push the new one in and then lock it in place. So now that's secured. So this can go back now to the back of your unit, and it clicked. It's back in place. So I think now we move on to connecting the new box. So the fiber optic cable which used to go into your screen will now go into your new box. And as you can see on the box, there is LVDS out and LVDS in. So this cable will feed the video from your head unit to this box. So it needs to go to LVDS in, and then your new cable, which is somewhere here, this needs to be connected to LVDS out. So basically signal from your head unit will go into this box and then it will go out through this cable to your screen. So now this is in place. The next step is to connect your CAN power cable. So this is the cable which connects to your new harness, and this will power your unit. So it goes to CAN power in your new box. That's right. And that clicked in, I believe. Now there is still one more for antenna, USB and camera. So let's connect it to the box now. So the next step is to make sure that your box is set to the right screen size. So as I explained before, your car might have 6.5-inch unit like mine, or you might have a panoramic version 8.8 inch screen. If you do have a bigger screen, you have to make sure that switch number 3 on your unit is on. If your screen is 6.5 inch, you leave it off so it's up. Like I'm doing it now. Next step is to connect the antenna. It is recommended that the antenna is placed somewhere away from the box to avoid any interference. So I'm going to try to find a suitable space for it somewhere. As you can see, it will be held in place by the 3M tape, so it should be placed somewhere securely. The cable is about 1 meter long, so that should enable me to actually move it somewhere away from the box itself. So I'm going to stick it in there so I can connect the other end to the box. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to place everything back in there. I'm not going to be able to test my camera yet because I didn't solder it and I didn't connect it, but I can do it later, that's fine. So I'm going to connect the front panel. and I'm going to try to turn on the ignition to see if everything works. So the car is telling me to set the time and date, and that's because I turn off the battery. I'm gonna go to the multimedia and to aux front and select that. So now I have to connect my phone to the MMI box via Bluetooth. So the next step was to find out if it's all working. So as you can see, I connected the front panel just for a moment. Everything else is connected apart from the vents. So I powered it on and it all works. So you have to now go to wireless devices to pair your phone with through Bluetooth with that device. So you go to connect mobile device, start searching, and I'm going to Bluetooth in my phone. Let's see if it will find it. CarPlay 8.9, that's fine. Pair, allow. So now this is connected. Use CarPlay link with GP link. CarPlay automatically connects your iPhone to your car built-in display and can access your phone while it's locked. Use CarPlay. Oh wow, look, it works. So it connected automatically to my Spotify, and it's all wireless. Okay, that's great. Let's press back and back again. Can I go back to... Yes. So now I'm gonna make a quick call, which I'm not gonna record, just to test the microphone. Right, so I just made a call and everything worked perfectly fine. I didn't have to change anything with the microphone. It's working perfectly fine. Right, so as you can see, it all works. I'm very happy so far. Now I have to tighten all the cables and put them back in there with the unit. So I will skip this part in the video. I also have to solder this cable from the camera just to make sure it's all ready to go back in, and then I can test it and review it properly. Right, what I've just done is I pulled this panel from the bottom of the head unit, and that's because it will give me more space to tidy up the cables and place the box underneath the head unit. Okay, so I think I sorted all the cables now to sit below the head unit, so I should be able to slide it in back in place. Yes, perfect. And as you can see, because I removed this panel here, I've got plenty of space to actually put my new box in there. So the last job before I will put it back in place is to connect this aux in. So this needs to be connected to your aux in your armrest. Unfortunately, that means you have to route the cable somehow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a way to route it just to take it under the trim which goes on the side of your gearbox, and I will basically route the cable under there, and then it will find a way under my armrest and it will connect there. It was a long process. It took me about over 2 hours to route all the cables, to take it apart and put it back, but it looks like it works and I'm really happy with it so far. I'm going to test it over the next couple of days, then I'm going to give you my final verdict. So it's time for part 2 of this video, so let's get to the review. So I had this unit now for almost a week, so I can now start talking about its functionality and how it works. So as you can see, this is the standard Apple CarPlay. You can change the layout, change the icon through the settings in your phone. Everything works like in any other car on Apple CarPlay. How do you control it without touchscreen? So you basically use your iDrive controls to get into the applications and then to go back. So you use your back button. If you want to go back to your normal iDrive menu, you just press menu for over 1 second and it switches. As you can see, it's instant, so you can have access to both whenever you want to. Then if you want to get to the settings of the box itself, where you can set a lot of things, you just simply press on BMW icon, you go in, and now you're in your device menu. So what you can do here, so far I only played with some of the options. So you can go to this setup and you can obviously change the language, you can play with your display, you can change things like brightness, saturation, contrast, etc. Audio, I think this will be a big one. So the volume controls the level of the output, and that's you can also set a level of the input in your iDrive, so you just have to find a happy medium. So for example, it's very similar to the volume of your normal iDrive system. So I kept the volume on 12, and I think I set the iDrive to 10 on a scale of 0 to 20. Something which I really like, which my normal system doesn't allow me to do, is the equalizer. So you can see, you can actually go to the equalizer, and there is quite a lot of options. So you can actually play with different frequencies. You've got also different settings like classic, rock, etc. So you can actually, you know, change all of them and play around, find your perfect setting. You've got the loudness option, which I didn't use. You've got a couple of options in regards to the microphone volume, etc. Then you've got reverse menu, which basically gives you all the options related to your reversing camera. You have to set it to the aftermarket camera and reverse line detect off, so it actually detects the camera. At the moment my camera isn't connected. I disconnected it because it's not installed yet. As it turns out, in M135i there's so little space behind the registration number where it will be mounted that I have to take off the bumper. So this will be another video another day. Then you've got an option about Wi-Fi channels. I didn't touch that. Right drive, so basically that switches the position of the icons of your Apple CarPlay, so there will be either on right or left hand side. Camera mirror, back switch, display, etc. So you've got a couple of options in regards to CarPlay, software updates, system version. You've got some question and answers and some user guide. There's not much information available, however it's nice that they actually put some information in there which might help you with some when you experience some trouble. What about the quality of the sound? The quality of the sound is actually really good. I would say the same as from your normal iDrive system. The sound from the box is going through an analog cable to your aux in, so when you're on the maximum volume you can hear probably a bit of static in the background when you're sitting in a totally quiet car with your engine off. Obviously you won't be hearing that when you're driving, and probably you won't be listening to the music that loud anyway. So I give it probably 4 out of 5 here because of that static. However, it's not the fault of the box. I think it's just because it's connected to the system through the aux in, an analog connection, and you just can't overcome that. It's not digital, so you will always have a level of static somewhere there in the background. So when I get into the car and start the engine, it usually displays the CarPlay menu within seconds. It's that quick. Sometimes, however, it took a bit longer. I think on 2 occasions it took it about minute to connect. I would say again 4 out of 5. It works really well and I'm really happy with it. I'm not going to go through the functionality of the CarPlay because it's the same like in any other unit, so there's no point. To me, that was the whole point. I wanted to have access to my Spotify, I wanted to have access to WAZE, and I wanted the system to be able to read my messages when I'm receiving them, and all of that is covered by this box. So my final verdict: I'm very happy with the system. It works well, it's stable, it's reliable, it's fast. I never wanted a bigger screen, so this screen it's enough. It has enough information for me. I'm happy with the way you switch it. It takes literally 1 second to switch between screens. It's all operated from your iDrive system, so obviously the biggest advantage to me is I'm not risking getting a fine for using my mobile phone when changing tracks or changing playlists, etc. So I can really recommend the unit. Like I said, during the installation I had a couple of questions. I literally pick up the phone and call Kush. He's a fantastic guy. It was Sunday and he still picked up. He still you know, gave me his advice. Then he even texted me asking if everything's all right, if I need anything else. So I really recommend you know, getting it from Kush, because he's price-wise, he's probably the best out there, and quality of the service is absolutely fantastic. So well done, Kush. So if you're in the market for a unit which will offer you that additional functionality building into your iDrive system, look no further. This is a fantastic option. You don't get bigger screen, but you don't pay for a big screen. And to me, I never wanted a big screen. It's a nice option, but it's not worth paying extra money. Right, so thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and I was able to help you in making the decision if this is the unit for you. Please make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel for more interesting content. Thank you for watching and I see you next time. Goodbye.